Okay, here I am at the grave of the known soldier, the last American KIA sent home from World War I. It's got 3 Vickers machine guns surrounding it, British machine guns of all things. But we used a lot of the 303 British guns ourselves, water-cooled machine guns. That's the slab. And this was put here, this was rededicated in 2000. So very well done, in fact. The Vickers, these Vickers machine guns, I can remember them coming to see them when I was a little kid, about 45 years ago. And they have amazingly suffered little wear being in the part of the town that they are in. For a while, this was a pretty dangerous part of the neighborhood. The Vickers Maximum Company, under US patent, manufactured. These are 1904 model Vickers, which are based on the Maxim, of course. But just designed by an American, but built by the Germans and the British. Far out, huh? We used Brownings. Or we built Brownings. There's another one. Amazingly good shape. This is the slab. This has been here for many years, many decades, since the early 20s. This has been here. The last of the nation's dead to return to this native soil. This body was honored by the government of the US of America as representative of its known dead in World War I. Private Charles W. Graves, private soldier, born March 8, 1892. Enlisted August 16, 1917, Company M, 117th Infantry, 3rd Tennessee Regiment, 30th Division. Killed on the Hindenburg Line, October 5, 1918, near New Roy, France. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. And this was a bronze statue. They built this whole area up after, in 2000, they completely redid this thing. It's a bronze statue to him, or to the known dead American soldiers. This is, I'm only going to read part of this, and I can't read it through the red lens. I have to look over it, hope I don't get it off the site. In March 22, a troop ship Cambria returned the final 1,065 bodies to the dead of the known dead to the U.S. The last body removed was Charles W. Graves, designated as representative of the nation's known dead of the war. Let's see, it talks about the memorial service in the Brooklyn Naval Yard. 4 Army generals, 4 admirals attended. President Warren G. Harding's eulogy, he was there. And he was supposed to be placed next to the grave of the unknown soldier, but his family requested he be brought back to Floyd County, Georgia, which is now occupied by the Georgia Taliban, people who don't even believe in the Constitution. I'm surprised they let them put this up. They're so bloody anti-American around here in these courthouses. He was removed from this church and put here in 1922. No, excuse me, 1923. The 3rd time he was buried was here. And of course, there's a nice little poem there. I'm not really gonna read it. You can always hit pause and take a look at it if you want to. But a surprisingly detailed bronze soldier up here. Very well detailed, right down to the boots and the leggings. The correct kind of webbing and gear you would carry. And instead of the predominantly issued 1903 Springfield, he's got a P-17 Enfield. It was either manufactured by Remington or Winchester in World War II. Maybe a little less than a third of our troops in World War I were armed with these weapons. I used to own one. They've got it, except for the exaggerated recess in the stock. It's pretty accurate. The sight and bolt system, the bolt, everything's pretty accurate up here. Very well done. Right down to the length of the bayonet. kind of hard to walk and do this at the same time, by the way. I'm sure you other guys that have done this kind of thing realize that. And there's the way it's set up. I think it looks pretty nice, actually. I was not able to attend the ceremony where there were a lot of uniforms and a lot of veterans out here. Through no fault of my own. And that's where they had the 3 vicars set up over his slab. And this is at the edge of the military part of the Myrtle Hill Cemetery. This is the hill that General Forrest, during the Civil War in 1863, retreated to while he was battling a vastly superior Union force. And that's his statue over there, by the way. And he managed to fake him off by running his cavalry and his single artillery piece around and around and around. I believe that's the way it is. He basically conned him into thinking he had a much superior force. I believe that's part of the story of it, of the battle. A year later, when General Sherman came through, the place promptly surrendered, which doesn't surprise me a bit, considering it's the way people are around here. Doesn't really surprise me a bit. They're pretty naive. Anyway, it's General Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. May 3rd, 1863, General Nathan Bedford Forrest, by his indomitable will, after a running fight of 3 days and nights with 410 men, captured Colonel A.D. Straight's raiders, numbering 1,600, thereby setting Rome for destruction. Yeah, after a pretty good fight, he came up here on this hill. Of course, it wasn't quite like this back then. And I believe the tale has it that, I believe the historical account is that he ran his one artillery piece, put a bunch of branches behind some of his cavalry and made a lot of dust, marched his troops around, changed their formations and such around, and basically faked off the Union commander. And he surrendered. And of course they took their boots and their weapons and their ammo and said, y'all head on home. I imagine a lot of them wound up in POW camps, but usually when they had a mass surrender like that, a lot of people were allowed to just walk home, or just managed to. Sure wouldn't want to be in a POW camp in the Civil War. This is the statue to the women of the Confederacy. To the women of the Confederacy. And the sun's at a low angle. It's kind of hard to get this. Maybe you can see it. You can hit pause and maybe read it. There's let's see. There's some the possession. Let's see. He possessed that rare tactic. Okay, I can't read what the hell they're talking about here. You can just freeze it and take a look. It's kind of hard to read it with the shadows and the way they would talk. Erected in 1908. Now at one time, okay, now the sky's gonna blot out the bright light's gonna blot it out pretty bad. At one time, these statues and several more that are up scattered about this cemetery were on Broad Street. So they moved them all down here, I guess. And of course, pole gets in my way a little bit. Get up here to my transportation. This place is Pretty historical site. President Woodrow Wilson's first wife, president during World War I. His wife is buried here. She died while he was in office, and the funeral was I think it was like 1916. It's the biggest thing that happened around Rome since the bologna slicer machine broke down. There's also a lot more military graves that are scattered about. It's supposed to be the edge of the military section. Well, the military section is in like 3 different places. The place is full of unknown Civil War graves too. Okay, that is all. I'm gone.